In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the second main reason, the second main physical reason why you're struggling with binge eating, and as well, the starting step to help you stop binging and start living. So stay tuned. Welcome to Stop Binging and Start Living. And from the title, this is exactly what I'm going to be helping you through this series in this podcast, through nourishment, movement, and mindset. Because when you understand where these habits are coming from and how to actually create a change, a positive change for the long term, you can start living your life today by creating a life free from binge eating. So I am so excited to have you here, and let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to part 2 of the physical reason why you're struggling with binge eating. Now, if you listen to the last episode, make sure you listen to it because this is going to be something piling on the last one, because there's homework here because I want you to bring in some actionable steps to help you create food freedom by actually healing the physical reason why you're struggling with binge eating. And why is this so important to me is because I struggled with binge eating, and for the past 20 years, I've been helping people struggling with this. And that's why I'm a nutritionist, NLP practitioner, and as well yoga and mindfulness teacher, because it's really an overall perspective and an overall coaching practice that actually has helped my clients create food freedom and stop binging. And here is a part 2 today. When you look in terms of under eating, what we talked about last week is that, yes, not eating enough will increase your cravings. Not eating enough is telling your body you're in a famine state and it needs to eat. However, there's a second factor around the foods that you eat, or actually the foods that you don't eat, that is triggering your binge eating. And this is actually macro or micronutrient deficiencies. Best example, getting on a diet and cutting a whole food group out. This actually creates two things. By cutting a whole food group out, you're actually cutting probably a main macronutrient. Maybe it's carbs, maybe it's fat, maybe it's protein, depending which one you're doing. But as well, in those products that you're cutting, you're actually also cutting micronutrients, vital vitamins and minerals. And your body calculates all that. Your body is not only about calories in general. Your body needs carbs, fats, and protein, and an array of vitamins and minerals and water as well. And each body is very different. Every body is genetically different in terms of what it needs, and it listens to everything that you kind of bring in. So whatever food you're eating in, it's filling in all those little receptors that it needs, saying, okay, I got my macro, my micronutrients, everything is good. But when there's something that's missing, it's like it's not working efficiently. It's like a piece of the puzzle is missing. That's when we get on a diet and it cuts a whole food group. You're actually cutting a whole receptor functioning that your body actually needs to focus and to keep moving forward. And that actually causes cravings. Let me give you the best example. I don't know if this happens for me, and maybe some women will relate as well. But before or during my period, I crave a lot of meat, and it's actually very normal because when you have your period, you lose a lot of blood, you lose a lot of iron. So I have this big craving for red meat before and during my period. So you see, your body sends you cravings to what it's missing. So if you're cutting carbs altogether, it actually might be causing an increased cravings in carbs because your body's like, hey, I need this. I need carbs for my muscles. I need carbs to do my glycogen stores. I need carbs for my brain functioning. And in that, there's all these vitamins and minerals, like B vitamins for stress. There's also some iron in there. There's so many supplements, so many vitamins and minerals in these certain foods that your body is missing. So we also need to look at cravings, not just a lack of control or, oh, I just want sugar and just carbs or fat or salt. There's sometimes a truth behind your craving that there's something missing. And very often we actually disconnected from our cravings, to be honest. Very often we have those cravings. If we actually take the time to listen to our body, does it want meat, bread, spinach, apple, oranges? Your body actually knows what it needs and it wants to go for those foods. However, when we create a complete disconnect in a certain way from what our body needs, and that's what dieting does. Dieting made us disconnect from actually being in tune with what our body wants. And we started thinking, just imposing those foods on it, when actually it might need a whole different type of chemistry of food than what you are eating. And this is why when you look at cutting a whole food group, or even going on like diets with all these supplements and these products and these shakes and these bars or so on, There's a big lack of nutritional deficiency in that. There's a lack of macro and micronutrients in there. And your body is craving so much more because it says, hey, I have all these needs, all these like receptors I need to fill in, and you're not giving me enough. And it panics. So when there's something inside that's not being filled in a certain way, it sends the signals. Something's missing. Give me something. And it's just going to send any signal because at one point it's like, listen, you're not listening to me. It's going to kind of bring it up. And this is why maybe you're losing control with certain foods. And we sometimes also lose control with those food groups we cut out because they end up becoming trigger foods. We have all these foods labeled bad because we cut them out. But then when we're feeling exhausted and we want to reward ourselves, or maybe want to rebel against something, we're going to go for those foods that we didn't allow ourselves to have. You see, it's such a multifaceted thing when we're going through binge eating. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. There's so many factors that get into that equation. But that's why last week we talked about under eating. If you're not eating enough, no matter what it is, you're just not eating enough. You need to make sure that you bring that intake up. But the second thing is, do you have a variety in what you're eating? Which means within every meal and every snack, do you have a variety? Do you have proteins, carbs, fats, and vitamins coming from vegetables? Variety. We cannot live off just tuna cans and salads 3 times a day. We can't. And we're not meant to, because our body needs so much more than what these diets are giving you. Variety is important, color is important, but I really want you to look at more the big groups, the proteins, the carbs, and the fats. They actually have to be part of every single meal and as well every single snack. So you know when I talked about eating the first hour you wake up and then eating every 2 to 4 hours, it's not just eating chicken. It's not just eating nuts. It's eating chicken with rice, nuts with an apple. Balance. And always a little bit of fat in there that's coming in from those foods. And when you have that variety coming in, you're filling in those receptors, which actually gets your body calm, which actually brings down your cravings. And as well, when you're opening up the doors to eating all that variety of food, what happens? You're allowing more foods to be safe. I'm doing like, because all foods should be safe. All foods are good. There are no good foods or bad foods. I'm going to keep that for another episode because that's a whole conversation. There isn't, unless you're deathly allergic to something. Nothing is bad. Variety is good. And all foods have their purpose. So I want you to look in terms of how are you eating? Are you always eating the same thing? Are you actually having carbs, proteins, and fats with every meal and every snack? And if you're like, I don't know if I'm comfortable doing all this, then make sure that you have that support. Or even better yet, if you have somebody around you that you see eating the carbs, the fat, and the protein, eat with them, learn from them. This is one of the most important things. Because yes, your body needs a certain amount of calories, but if it's always the same foods, you're missing a whole other category to fill in those cravings. Variety is important because carbs are not bad. Fat is not bad. There's nothing bad. There's something needed from every single macronutrient that you're having. And again, remember, all these food groups have all those vitamins and minerals that are actually coming in through them that actually feeds your body. And here is the thing. You might be thinking, well, it's going to take a multivitamin. It doesn't work. Did you know that multivitamins, you might actually absorb 10 to 20% of what's in there? If you're lucky. And studies have been shown that, let's say, for example, omega-3 fats. Omega-3 fats in fish are absorbed much better than omega-3 fat in a pill because nature is done in such an amazing way. The fish has things in it that helps you absorb better the omega-3 fats. Everything comes together for a reason. Everything, all the vitamins and minerals and the fats are all together for a reason. They get absorbed better. And that can never be replaced in a pill form. That's why we look at, yes, in terms of like whole foods in a certain way, but for me, it's any food. Any food has nutrients. All you have to think about again is, do I have my carb? Do I have my protein? Do I have my fat at every single meal? in every single snack. That's the homework for today. Looked at the first one, eating regularly. We looked at today, bringing that variety and that balance. And again, start with what you're comfortable. Start with one meal, start with a second meal, start with snacks. Make sure you can connect with somebody who can support you. If you're not sure how to integrate all that, just message me. I would love to support you. But this is really the second step to help your body get out of the starvation mode. That very often is the leading reason why many people are stress eating, compulsive eating, emotional eating, binge eating, because your body's hungry. It's really, really hungry. And to calm that hunger, we need to feed it. But we need to feed it a variety of foods. And that's when Ashley says, okay, I'm riding the wave, I'm calm. Whew, I have enough things of what she's giving me or he's giving me to make sure all my receptors are fed. And it calms the system. Cravings is not just a lack of control. There's a thing behind cravings. There's a cry for help from your body saying, I need to eat. I need food. Probably is I need variety because there's some macro and micronutrients missing from it. So I want you to think about that. Really sit with this. And again, these are exactly the tips that I give to all my private clients. These tips change everything. Start with what you're comfortable. Start slowly. Make sure that any steps you're taking forward, you're taking it in the right direction. And again, if you need any support, just don't hesitate to message me with this. If you know somebody else is struggling with binge eating, do share this episode with them. It might actually help them. Like that, you can both get on this amazing journey to be accountable to do the homework that's going to be shared in this and all future episodes. So do a cleanup in your eating in a certain way. Add in more variety. Maybe you need to go to the grocery store to add in a little bit more variety into your day. Feed your body. Your body wants to work with you. Your body has nothing against you. It just wants to survive. And to help it work on your side, it's actually feed it regularly, feed it a variety, and trust me, your cravings will be going down just with this homework. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you follow and subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give me the thumbs up button right below. I always want to make sure that this is the content that you are appreciating so I can create more of it. On that note, my name is Dina Merhbi. I wish you a beautiful and a balanced day, and I'll catch you in the next episode.